Hi.
Down, yep. I will take some, but I'm gonna rest. So what's going on, big bro?
Life and substance. Ready to take this trip with VA to the 4th annual regional conference. Positive trip. God Rashid. God King Justice.
We're at the National Conference for Region 4. We're in Virginia. This is the God Rashid University behind the camera. Peace and mighty, how you be? What's going on over here today, girl?
Oh man, God, you know we just dealing with, you know what I mean, knowledge and equality and born in God, you know what I mean?
All right.
Sciences. My name is Shah Peace Be Allah. I'm from Richmond, Victory Allah. You know what I mean? You're dealing with knowledge, equality. You're dealing with knowledge and my wisdom and my understanding.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? If you acknowledge my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, my knowledge, my wisdom, and understanding is going to show just what Allah gave us, the knowledge that we are God. You know?
Yes, sir.
And with that, I'm going to say peace.
So what's going on at this event here?
Okay, this event is the 4th annual Region 4 conference. The Region 4 consists of Virginia, which is Victory Allah, North Carolina, which is now C, South Carolina, which is Savior C, Atlanta, Georgia, which is Allah's Garden, and Father Love Allah, which is Florida.
Yes, sir.
These 5 states are held responsible to come to the Region 4 conference and give a report on education, public relations, communications, economics, security, and health. I'm giving a report on public relations, and I'm sure the conference is going to be a blast as always.
Yes, sir. Peace, God. And how you be, mighty?
All right, peace. I'll be Supreme Born Allah from Now C.
Peace, God.
Yeah, we're here for the regional conference also, God. We travel, coach hours to get here, just to be here on this beautiful knowledge equality day. See, today's map is knowledge equality all on the God. I see the knowledge that I've accumulated through my ways as it travels, being born down to equality, teach one to their all knowledge of what I know, to show forth and prove that I am the original man, the Asiatic black man who was God.
All right. The conference starting.
The great thing that we have here is something that's continually progressing, which is always great.
Pardon me.
What we are going to do here today, we're going to have a slew of great speakers come up and speak on various points. I hope that you want to take notes and have questions towards the end. The way we're going to do it, we're going to give each person a particular time. Well, I won't say a time frame because we may have time for them to speak a little bit longer. But our keynote speaker here today will be the God Zaire, and we're going to go ahead and bring him up.
Peace.
Peace, family.
Peace.
First of all, if everybody would turn off their cell phones or put them on vibrate. Turn down your electronic devices, your communication devices, your Blackberries, your laptops, your supercomputers. A couple of issues before we start. wanted to thank everybody who expressed their best wishes, positive thoughts for my speedy recovery since the car accident, which was 6 months ago tomorrow. And my speedy recovery, still recovering, not 100% yet, but I'm very much on the road to recovery. Thanks to mathematics, Allah's mathematics, and also my wonderful Earth, Queen Shamika, who helped nurse me back to health. Peace, thank you. Also, wanted to just let you know what I have ahead of me, but before that, I want to thank Region 4 for extending the invitation for me to be a keynote speaker. I'm both humbled and inspired by the idea to be honored to do this presentation. Humbled because, you know, as long as I've been in the nation, I do what I do, and I do it for the right reason. Not for props, not for publicity or whatever, but because it's the right thing to do. Inspired because this is the 5th year that we're completing of the growth and development process. Year number 5, which is a track record unknown to this nation up until this day and time. We've had many, the 4th regional conference, and now sharing it with other local areas within that region. So this is the idea that was manifested in 2001. And a couple more things. Many regions have actually implemented projects and initiatives based on the growth and development process. Just the fact that we identify where we're from by regions, to me shows that we have arrived to a point where we have accepted this as a household name within the nation. Just the fact that so many regions, that we'll show some slides in a moment, have participated in the growth and development process in various forms. Another announcement, and this is a public service announcement. This is actually with great pride that I announced that my second daughter, Qualisha Lakia, here, had her 3rd child, which is a son, on Monday, September 11th. And that's my 9th grandchild. His name is Josiah, Jozyeh. So we continue to build this great nation, and that is why I'm here, for my grandchildren, for my children, for the babies, and for the newborn. And as a brother that's been around for a few years in this nation, I feel it was my responsibility to pass on a blueprint for successful years to come, for generations to come. So I take this very seriously. Obviously you do too. A lot of you traveled great distances to come here. I see faces that are in this room that have not missed any growth and development conferences on the East Coast. Some I've even seen on the West Coast. Some I've seen out in the Midwest. And we just do what we do. And this is Allah for a manifest as far as I see it. My reward is here and now. My reward is peace and happiness. So what I'm going to do is present some historical perspectives on the growth and development process. I'm going to actually look at the foundation of the idea of the growth and development process, a brief overview of where we've come with it to this point in time, what areas have participated in it, and just touch upon where we're going, the direction that we're going, and not so much in specific initiatives, but the way in which we intend on working with the idea of the growth and development process. So the first thing is what the growth and development process is. Little history. King Allah is here, and King Allah in 2001 had an idea, and it was that since we had to show and prove that everybody would basically meet at the school before the show and proof started, all the brothers said we would take this opportunity of the one time that we're together throughout the year. The one time that we come together in Mecca and have everybody just like, almost like a shout out, like this is what we're doing in Power Born. This is what we're doing in Victory Allah. This is what we're doing in Now C. This is what we're doing in Pelon. This is what we're doing all across the country, in South Carolina, whatever. And it was almost a success. That event was almost a success, but the seed had been planted. The reason why it wasn't a total success because we couldn't get access to the school. So we had what I call the conference on the steps. And the conference on the steps, I call it actually the cipher on the steps. We did our shout outs and we got an idea of what was happening in respective areas. It wasn't as organized as this. There wasn't any audio visual aids, but the idea was born. And that was in June 2001, so in July 2001, while we were in Power Born, I Majestic, who is a visionary, the young guy came to me and said, look, man, like Vaughn King was right. Like, we gotta come together and we gotta communicate. We gotta make this nation smaller than the great distance of miles that we are apart, because brothers were moving out of Mecca, brothers were moving out to various areas down south, across the south. And so what we did was we actually came together. Next slide, please. Thank you. And we bought a map. We put it on the wall in our kingdom. And we got color-coded pens. And we just started basically identifying the areas in the country where there was a conglomeration of nation members. And so, as it turned out, Mecca, where the knowledge first began, ended up being Region 1 after some debate. Region 2 was gracious, and they accepted Region 2 because they understand that the number wasn't important. And we started down the East Coast because, if you notice, these were these actual representative color codes that we put in there, and this was where the biggest conglomeration of nation members were. So we came out with Region 1, 2, and down here in 3, a little bit of Philly, Eastern Pennsylvania, and then all the way down to Florida for Region 4. And then we came back up across this way with Texas and Louisiana for Region 5, and we went up to Region 6, which was the western part of Pennsylvania, including some of Canada, Toronto, and also some of Ohio. And we didn't have a problem being 6 because we know 6 is supreme equality. And we figured somebody might have a problem with 6. And then we went, Region 7 was in the Midwest, and Region 8 is almost like uncharted land for us. And then Region 9, obviously, all of this because this is the West Coast. In the future, we're looking at establishing a Region 10. We're looking at England, London. We're looking at Puerto Rico. We're looking at Jamaica. We're looking at other areas that are going to be additional regions. But we wanted to start with the first 9, just like Allah started with the first 9. We wanted to keep it mathematically in tune with what our reality is. And so it was really not as simple as I just explained it, because there was a lot of debate and there was a lot of introspection, and we had to come to an agreement.
Peace, God.
And I wanted to also share that just the whole idea was not revolutionary in terms of nation ideas. We had God Universal Life, we had the Pelon Initiative, we had other initiatives over the course of the years. So what I did was, knowing that I'd rather be apolitical, which means not being political, I knew that Allah was the greatest politician that ever lived, and that I had to sell this idea to this nation. So I called my brothers. I called my big brothers, my elders, and I said, yo, God, how you see this? They said, man, that sounds good. And so by the time we rolled it out, it wasn't a surprise to anybody. So here we are today on a Knowledge Equality Day. One of the other main ideas was to connect areas on that map that would support each other. In other words, stronger states with states that didn't have that many members. So all those ideas went into that equation. So what is the growth and development process? Initially, we started out with just wanting to communicate, but then we had to put some more meat on those bones. An initiative which was presented and designed to promote and preserve our culture. It was presented as a proposal. It was presented as an idea, and we asked for your acceptance. It was presented as an idea because we wanted to be unified in our approach. It was presented as an idea because this is not a top-down approach of somebody telling anybody what to do. We presented this as an idea because we knew that it had to be accepted across the nation and across the board. It's a means by which nation members have effective communication on pertinent issues, a way to share information amongst members of the nation in various locations, and an attempt to bring a much-needed structure to how we, as members of the nation of God and earth, communicate and conduct business amongst ourselves. Also, the structure for nation educators, grassroots builders, laymen and women, skilled and unskilled laborers, students, professionals, paraprofessionals, to network and share best practices with each other. What do we mean by best practice? Best practice means that as far as Virgina has a business that makes soap and other toiletries and oils and things of that nature, why would I go all the way to the lab to reinvent that idea and that process when I could just go to him and say, yo, God, could you put me down? I'm on the other side of the country. Let's replicate those ideas, because poor righteous teachers don't mean being broke. Poor righteous teachers mean we don't hoard that well. Poor righteous teachers mean we don't sell the knowledge. Poor righteous teachers mean that we teach freedom, justice, and equality. So we ain't broke. We in a wonderful environment, in Virginia law. This is what we deserve and better. It's just that we can't hoard that book. We got to teach it. That's why we the whole righteous what? Teachers. So as long as we teach, we doing our job. It's a means of sharing and duplicating successful programs, initiatives, and resources between local and regional areas. And that's probably a critical point. Why? Because if you only got 3 brothers or 4 brothers in an area, they need help. When the nation comes out there to visit them, it gives them power. Look at the power that Victory of Law and Now C has when we come from all over the country to visit y'all in Region 4. And your name rings out in this community already. I was out with y'all last night. Your name rings out. All the different educational groups, all the different so-called nations, Zulu or whatever have you, they gave the gods shout-outs all night long last night. In the hip-hop community, in the educational community, and that shows that we're having an impact in all those areas. So you strengthen your brothers and your sisters' position in the community when we show up. So when we show up, we want to see what y'all doing too, because the community don't know who you are, then what are y'all doing? Well, obviously your work is being seen and heard out here. So format by which young and newborn gods and earths can work in conjunction with and collaborate with more experienced and veteran members of the nation of gods and earths, and I didn't use the word elder. Because you're old or because you've been here a long time don't mean that you write an exam. I'm talking about going to somebody for some advice, somebody with some wisdom, somebody with some experience, a veteran, somebody who's taking care of their business. You as an example, not just somebody who's been here for a long time and wants prospered because of that. And finally, an opportunity for NGE members to come together from all around the country to recognize, plan, organize, strategize, and celebrate the many accomplishments being made in the nation. All right, the original goals. We kept it really simple and intentionally, very basic. And they were to further develop and expand the proposed regional initiative. Again, was a proposal. We wanted to host educational workshops on topics relevant to the development of the respective region. We wanted to build up the region so that they could start recognizing themselves as autonomous entities. And to facilitate the building of social, economic, and educational institutions throughout the nation. That was a, simplistic original goal statement that we have made. The original 5 initiatives were security, health, communications, economics, and public relations. My sister Leasia, I believe in 2003, requested that we add education to that, and we did. So education is now one of our initiatives that, we thought about it initially, but again, we were just trying to keep it real tight and real simple, but that's definitely a necessary ingredient or necessary initiative for any nation to be successful. The proposed organizational structure, I'm going to talk a little bit about this because initially what we thought was this is the bottom-up approach. This is what holds up the nation. The local areas hold up the nation. And it was based on these initiatives that we talked about, and what we recommended was that there would be local meetings at this level to identify the needs of each of those local areas. Within each region, the local areas would meet, and then we would start recognizing who would be their representative. Representative meaning that you was just the spokesperson for that place. That means it wasn't a title of authority. It's a spokesperson. I am a servant to my nation. That's all I am. I ain't the president, I ain't the vice president. By Allah, I'm here to serve you. As simple as that. It doesn't get me off doing this. Being up here, this is a humbling experience. I like it though, because I see progress. This ain't about me. It ain't about no titles. A representative is just that. You're carrying the message from the group to the table. And the local areas would send their representative with their collective ideas to the region, quarterly board meetings for each region. And that's where decisions would be made at these regional levels that would lend support to all the different cities within that region based on needs assessments. Now, the way we had looked at it was we have presented a timeline that showed how we wanted to do it. We wanted to actually have local meetings whenever you wanted to. We wanted to have quarterly meetings on a specific day 4 times a year across the nation. We wanted this to move as a unit. In other words, I hear things like, why did y'all have your regional conference the same day? What's up with that? Well, because the original idea was we would all have it on the same day. That's what's up. table in the mindset of our law, moving in the same direction. I respect that we tagged on family days and socials and everything, because we get together and we got to work, and there's a little bit of play involved too. However, the original idea was that we would be all working on the growth and development process the same day, the same time, 4 times a year in our regions, in our various regions. That's why I don't have a problem with people double booking. Quite frankly, everybody's not traveling all the way across the country anyway. Quite frankly, a lot of us ain't traveling out of our communities. Quite frankly, the faces I see here are the faces I see all over. And quite frankly, the people who complain about it, I haven't seen them get off the D train yet. And it's not just about that. I'm just talking about a euphemism. So the point that I'm making is that the original idea was to have this on the same day, and that regional meetings, and then it was representatives sent from local to region, then representatives sent from the region to the national, where we would have biannual meetings. And there, we would also have our advisory board, and we would have that whole panel of individuals sitting on the region at that table. If you look at the next slide, the initial idea was to even have a parallel track dealing with the Earths. So that the Earths would have a similar structure, and that they would send their local reps to the regional, and the region would send their reps to the national, so there would be 19 Earths at the national. So that the Earth issues could be heard as well. And they could do a report on the finances and on their programmatic issues. All right, so those were part of the initial ideas for the structure. Next slide. Right now, we've had some successes, and so far these are all the areas that have participated in the growth and development process. Over 22 states. So when you start looking at this, it's not just hit and miss. This is actually gaining steam, momentum, and consistency. Now the consistency is there in terms of coming together. Now what we have to do is increase the qualitative aspect of what we're coming together for, which means I'm hearing a lot about those 501c3 organizations. The God Born Justice just started a banging one. The God's and Victory Law, Sharp Peace, Ramel's, Mathematics, and I'm not including anybody here who, how many here is involved with the 501c3? Look at this. And so what I'm saying is that idea, that paperwork that you filled out, if somebody has the wherewithal and the resources and the human resources, the manpower, and the commitment to live out your proposal, it will work across the country in 10 other cities. But being that y'all are the originators of these 501c3 programs, that is the key, because you have invested in it. So I don't want you to just give me anything, but you can provide me with the blueprint. I can take that blueprint and apply it in my environment. And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about giving anybody anything. We're talking about sharing resources, sharing the know-how. Don't ask me to give you all my connections. It's like the wholesaling business. Yo, God, where can I go get? Yo, man, come on, man. I'll give you a plan. I ain't gonna give you my resources. Everything is real. Unless we're gonna be in a non-competitive environment. Right, you're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. Everything is real. So what we're doing is we're saying that all of these areas have embarked on, first of all, making a conscious decision to fly the banner of the growth and development process, along with the Nation of God and Earth banner. And the second thing that that's done is created interlocking communication. to somebody from each one of those areas on whether it's an inconsistent basis or a consistent basis is more than it was before. So, just an overview then of where we came from in terms of the growth and development process. And the show and prove, we had that cipher at the show and prove, and then that October, in Power One, we had the first Growth and Development Summit. In 2002, we had another conference in Region 6, and Region 7, Cream City jumped on board, and then we had another conference at the end of, or another summit at the end of 2002. 2003, that was Region 4's first conference. Region 7 had another one, and Region 3 had their first one, and then there was a summit, Growth and Development Summit at the Show and Prove, and then there was a Region 1 conference that same year. 2004, Region 4, 7, and now 2 jumped on board. So Region 4 and 7 are going into their multiples now. 2005, Region 4 and 7 again. There was a unification summit. That's part of Region 7 in Chicago to bring the different areas that have beefs with each other together. Then there was a health intake clinic that we have 2 RNs that I know. We may have more, but I know 2 RNs here participated in that process. Yeah, there they are. And that was a very successful assessment of our health as a nation. And there was a report. What was the name of the report that was published after that? The State of the Nation Health Report, where we looked at the illnesses, the health condition, which was not all negative of the nation of God and earth, but we also uncovered some critical information in terms of mental health issues, diabetes, and other hypertension, a lot of other issues that were uncovered. So I think that the next health intake clinic will be scheduled for 2007, every 2 years. And then, of course, the National Growth and Development Conference in Power One in Cypress City Truth of 2005. 2006, Region 7 again, and then another Region 7 in Love Hella Right, which is Champaign, Illinois. And then Region 4, where we're here now, and at the end of this year, I think in December, there will be a gathering of the Elder Queens Conference, sisters with 25 years or more building in the nation will be coming together. So, a total of growth and development events in the past 5 years, 21. That's a lot. It's a lot of information being shared. That's a lot of initiatives being put out there. It's a lot of collaboration. What the growth and development process is not, and I won't dwell on these issues. However, what we have to recognize is there's been some positioning and some sort of perceived power structure. But I'm just here to say that this is not about that. It's not about anything but nation building as a collective. It's not a top-down approach for governing the MGU. It's not a format for individuals to gain personal power, exposure, or control within the NGE. It's not a system by which an individual or group of individuals dictate policy to any other members of the NGE. And it's not about the title, and we talked about that earlier. So that's pretty much, one of run tell that type of statements, because we hear a whole lot of things getting mixed up in the name of growth and development process, and it's not right and exact. I don't have time to list all of the successes that we've had, but we've had quite a few, just by virtue of the fact that we've had 21 events, 22 states, and these folks were working year-round together within their respective regions and local areas. Office of Cultural Affairs, led by Juan King Allah, has sprung up in conjunction or as a result of us coming together like this, because now he has his presence and our presence and our best interest represented in the penitentiaries across this country. And he's getting more inroads with that every day. The health intake clinic we talked about, the science fair, that aspect has been brought back to the show and prove. We had the science fair last year, we had the science fair this year, and the children loved it. I'm going to wrap up now because I want to respect the time. So we're still gaining momentum. What we're doing is, I think, recognizing the importance of supporting local, regional, and national initiatives. Focused efforts are now being made to ensure that the growth and development process is more inclusive of the grassroots builders. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. It's my theory that a lot of the brothers and sisters left the nation over the years because of a lack of structure or organization. Or maybe they just got tired of what they were seeing.
Recording your conversation.
And they couldn't impact the change. They couldn't affect the change themselves. So they walked away. They never gave up their name. They never gave up their birthright. They support the nation in heart or whatever, but they don't show up. And then all of a sudden the growth and development process comes. They said, that's what I was waiting for. I'm coming back and I'm going to take head of this committee. And I'm going to run this. And they said, well, do you know your lessons? Who are you? Where have you been? And so the brothers who the soldiers and the sisters who the soldiers marching in the streets, teaching this mathematics, this way of life day in and day out, leading for this nation, building this nation, adding on in this nation, they're looking at them like, what's up with that? Like, how can they come in here and dictate policy to us, and just the fact that they're involved tainted some of that. So what we have to do is we have to do a better job at packaging this. We have to do a better job at marketing this, and we have to do a better job of including the grassroots brother who's on the streets, UCLA, University of Lennox Avenue, or whatever, and get those brothers incorporated into the planning process. Get those brothers and sisters incorporating into coming up here and doing presentations. Let them show you how many babies they teach, how many black, brown, and yellow seeds they have. Let them show you the importance of community building. And we can't be exclusive with this process. The interesting thing is that now we're getting more of a mix. But initially that wasn't the case. It was basically like the brothers who were either professionals, paraprofessionals, the sisters with the same things, people with degrees and things of that nature, and it looked like some sort of an elite type of thing initially. Because a lot of these cats who came up with some of these ideas were straight from the universities. So even our recruiting field has broadened. We're recruiting from the universities now more than ever before.